morning, guys. So I've spent a week with the 2019 Challenger Scat Pack Widebody, and I will say I'm a little bit smitten with this car. I've really enjoyed my time in it. Dodge built this kind of for someone like me. They built it for someone who does some track days, wants really pretty nice suspension, a lot of brake, a lot of tire. They want to be able to really be able to push their car. And they've created something here that's really fun to drive, but also is incredibly capable and just has insane limits. One thing I really like about this car is that not only is it fun to drive, not only is it really capable, not only does it look amazing, especially in this plum crazy purple, but it's also pretty livable and pretty practical as well. Look at the size of this trunk. I mean, the Camaro has a tiny little opening, and this opening is massive. This is huge. You can fold down the rear seats into 60/40, and you could really use this thing every day. Winter driving is kind of out of the question unless you get some super wide winter tires, which I don't know if they're available in this size. You might have to get smaller, narrower wheels, but you got to get the offsets right to match the fender flares. The seats are really comfortable. The interior is roomy. There's a lot of features. The suspension rides decently well, and you could probably fit some people in the back seat in a pinch. And I mean, just look at it. It's gorgeous. Let's show you guys under the hood too. It's no Hellcat with a supercharger, but I think it actually looks pretty decent. Definitely something you wouldn't be ashamed to open up at a car show. All right, let's go for a drive. We'll get some of my final thoughts on this car. I did a night review a few days ago and had a chance to kind of push the car on some entrance ramps, and I could not believe the grip, the limits on this thing. Just absolutely phenomenal as a street car, and I have driven these on track as well, and they're pretty potent. The brakes last all day. It's quite amazing. So I've been warming up the tires a little bit today. It is 37 degrees out. It's kind of chilly. I will say, I do really like this automatic transmission. This 8-speed is pretty darn good. I would love a manual, but at the same time, this is so controllable, and it does exactly what you want when you need it, that it'd be kind of a tough decision between the two. I think ultimately I'd probably swing for the manual just for that extra engaging experience, but something I actually figured out the other day, you can hold the down paddle, the minus paddle, and it'll downshift to the lowest possible gear. So if you need to make a pass, or if you just want to downshift really quickly, it's really usable and really user-friendly to kind of switch between automatic and using the paddles and getting into a performance driving mode, so to speak, very effectively. And it's a smart transmission. It kind of learns what you're doing, learns how you're driving, and it does a really good job picking the gears, and it just bangs shifts, which is pretty amazing. And we're low on fuel. One thing that's kind of obvious, but you should know about the Challenger, is that It absolutely devours gasoline. I think every video that I've done on this car has burned about a quarter of a tank. But you know what? It's worth it. This thing is super, super fun to drive. I really can't get over the capabilities of this thing. Just look at that grip. It's insane. The shifts are so fast. This is truly a phenomenal muscle car. I will give Dodge mad respect for what they've done with this platform. I mean, this platform is so old. It's so dated. It's so heavy. It's so big. But they've created something that is nimble and fun and agile. And yeah, it still feels heavy, but it's not as heavy as it usually does because it has so much performance. The turn-in is really sharp. You know, you can be an autocross hero in this thing, and before people would have been laughing at you, but now you're probably going to be getting top PAX times. You know, it's pretty amazing what this Challenger can do. There are a ton of really neat displays and performance gauges, and there's a lot of info in this car that would be pretty fun to play with on track, and it's just useful stuff to see when you're at speed. So first of all, you've got a launch control. That's fun. Just light the tires up through the first few gears. But if you go into performance pages here, they need to load a little bit. But once you load everything, you can get temperatures all throughout the car, coolant temp, oil pressure, get a G-force meter. You can set timers, and you can add custom gauges here, or widgets as they call them. And you've got a horsepower and a pound-feet of torque meter, as well as an oil pressure meter. Dyno. Pretty cool. Leave it on the gauges. But I think being able to see coolant and oil temp is really useful when on track. And of course, you've got this drive mode selector that I've had up the whole time. You can switch between track, sport, custom, set your own settings, do your own toggles. This is kind of my street setup that I've really preferred. Keep the suspension on soft just because it's a little bit cooler out. Traction on sport, paddle shifters on, trans on street, steering on sport. You get a little bit better feel. It's nice because you can kind of tailor this car to what you prefer, what you like, what feels good to you as a driver, and the changes that you make do make a little bit of a difference. The steering weight's up, you get a little bit more feel, and it's a nice, sport mode is a nice medium, I think. And the adjustable suspension works really well, even in street mode. It's incredibly grippy, incredibly responsive, and when you put it in a track, it just dials it up that much more. I love how practical, how livable, how usable this is as a car. And then at the same time, it's bonkers. Do I have any complaints? Not really. This is one car that I have really, truly enjoyed this week. Takes a little bit of time for the tires to warm up. If you're on a cold morning and you want to accelerate quickly from a stop, you're just going to spin. You're going to do a little mini burnout. But, you got to warm them up. So, it's just an excuse, I guess. It does take the tires some time to warm up. Fuel economy, but you knew that going in. I really think this is my favorite muscle car on sale today. It's I think it's just as engaging and raw as the Camaro, but with better NVH and better livability, better visibility, better space. You can actually put things in the trunk. And with the new 2019 Camaro redesign, I don't know what they were doing with that front end. This looks better, in my opinion. And the Mustang sounds good. But this doesn't sound bad either. It's missing a supercharger, but you know, you get more simplicity, less weight, less cost. This is only 56 grand as spec'd. I mean, this thing is maxed out. It has a sunroof. It's got, you know, all your heated seats, heated steering wheel, cooled seats. You've got, you know, the big brakes. You've got the big tires, the wide body, the performance suspension. It's got everything. And it's 56 grand. Starting price is 38. I mean, I've heard that also Dodge is doing some pretty cool lease deals on these things. Not really sure on numbers, but it's a pretty compelling package. And to be perfectly honest, it kind of reminds me of a big Miata, big track Miata. Just it's balanced in the sense that everything is in harmony, and it has the right level of power. The transmission works great. All your inputs are met with feedback and enjoyment and speed. It's just a good driver's car, and I'd be really curious to see what one is like in manual, but as it is, this auto is damn good. And I think these things prove themselves on the track too. I've had a lot of experience in Hellcats and Challengers on the racetrack, and I'm always quite impressed at how they hold up and how they do and how they perform day in, day out. So anyway, guys, those are my final thoughts on the SRT Widebody. I am truly going to miss this thing when it has to go back into the press fleet tomorrow. Maybe I'll just have to buy one someday. I don't say that about a lot of cars that I test, but I will say that on this one. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, slightly different video quality, different look. I'm testing out the new GoPro Hero 7 to see if I like it. I think I like it. This is shot in 2.7K, a little bit better clarity, a little bit better dynamic range. Just a little side note there. Yeah. And it's so cool that they added the intakes too into the headlight. Yeah, this is one car that you will never forget to look back at. Look at these brakes. Holy crap, they're huge. You'll never run out of brake. Ever. I mean, those are race brakes. Proper stuff. So, oh my gosh, what's next for this car? I don't really know. Are they going to do a refresh? Are they going to do a redesign? As it sits, this is kind of my ultimate Challenger. I think I'd prefer this over the Hellcat just because it's simpler, balanced. You can really push this thing, and it'll reward you. All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching me gush over this new Challenger Widebody. We'll see you guys in another video later. Take care.